they're going to do a rollout before the game. The blue team's going to rotate. All the teams are going to line up and roll out to the center.
Yep.
And then face the camera and then do the little thingy.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Convention Center here in downtown New Orleans, Louisiana. It's the 43rd National Veterans Wheelchair Games, the third place match about to begin. Team Tux versus Team Orpheus. For Power Soccer Shop, I'm Tony Jackson, and I want to thank all of you for joining us here for the final two matches of this Power Soccer competition. After this, we will have our championship match scheduled for 7 p.m. local time, so 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Be sure to join us for that later on this evening. Teams all came to center court for the ceremonial rollout. And now they will take their positions back in their team's technical areas. Looks like we're about to get underway here. Quick rundown of the starting lineups for Team Tux. In goal, number 6, Chris Abundis. At the far side of the floor, number 3, Sean Ferry. In the middle, Captain Dan Castillo, the center. And here on our near side for Team Tux, number 5, Tanya Andrews. On the other side for Team Orpheus, in goal, number 4, Gary Poole. Also on the pitch, number 2, Bobby Ward. In the middle, number 10, Big Daddy Julian Perez, and rounding out their lineup is number 8, Marvin Brown. And Brown accidentally sends that towards their own goal area, and a 2-on-1 violation called on Team Orpheus is going to give Team Tux a very early indirect free kick just outside the Orpheus goal area. And in the Team Tux game we saw on Saturday, they did really well from these set plays and scored several goals. And let's see here if they can get one on the board early in this match. Castillo looking for a teammate or looking for anybody to hit this ball off of. This is an indirect free kick, so the ball just has to touch somebody before going over the line, and Gary Poole blocks that shot. And now Ferry working his way around, trying to get past Poole and Perez. And now Perez heading towards Castillo, who awaits at the center circle. Castillo can't get around the ball enough to keep it in play, so kick in coming up for Team Orpheus. Perez trying to redirect his teammates here. Trying to get Marvin Brown a little bit closer. He's really far away from Perez. It's going to be tough to get it over to him. Castillo is just sitting there waiting in space, waiting for that ball to come his way. And Perez over to Brown. And Andrews, that ball bouncing off of Brown's chair. Castillo picks it up, gets it past Brown, and now Tanya Andrews for Team Tux taking on Perez. And Castillo and Perez collide at the center line, and now Marvin Brown for Team Orpheus taking on Castillo. Castillo fighting Brown. Brown slamming into Castillo. Castillo racing down the touchline towards the Orpheus goal area, and he pushed it a little bit too hard and couldn't get it back under control. Kick in coming up, goal kick coming up for Team Orpheus. Perez hits that behind Brown and everybody else, so kick in coming up for Team Tux. Castillo right into Marvin Brown. And that ball rolls out of play. Kick in coming up for Orpheus. Brown to Perez. Perez getting around Andrews. Castillo. Castillo can't hold on to the ball. Tried to get around it and redirect it back onto the pitch, but he couldn't do it, so another kick in coming up for Team Orpheus. Marvin Young trying to find a space, but Tanya Andrews playing some really good defense. Now Brown takes a shot, but he couldn't connect with the ball. Now Castillo with it. Ward the last to touch the ball. Perez. Castillo tried to bounce it off of Ward, but hit it out of play. Perez imploring his teammates to move fast and get set up quickly, trying to catch Team Tux off guard here. Castillo. Brown. Perez comes up, keeps the ball in play. The pass to Brown. And a 2-on-1 violation, or excuse me, a 3-in-the-box violation called on Team Tux. Abundis, Castillo, and Andrews all inside the goal area. So Team Orpheus now with an opportunity to put one on the board here. Now, Marvin Brown's going to try to get in front of Castillo, but Castillo's been playing a really long time. He's not going to let Marvin Brown just put himself in front of him like that. So Brown's going to have to work for his position here. Now, Bobby Ward is trying to get behind Chris Abundis, but he can't do that. That's a 2-on-1 violation just because they're so close together. Perez trying to set up his teammates, but I don't think there is an understanding of what's going on here. Seems to be a little bit of a disconnect between them. And that ball bouncing off of Abundis, good save. And Abundis sends it out of play. Now Perez does have Ward all the way at the far post. Let's see if that's where he goes with it. It's a long distance to hit. He is going all the way across, but that's going right over to Ferry. Sean Ferry now on the counter attack. That ball still rolling down the touchline, still in play. Still in play. And now it goes out over the line. Ferry was pursuing that ball as though he thought it was going to go out, but it stayed in for quite a long time. That ball goes all the way through and out for a Team Tux kick-in. Castillo tried to go over to Andrews, and Andrews is there now to cut off that pass from Perez. Perez gets past her though. Perez goes behind Andrews. Brown. Castillo for Team Tux. Now Andrews on the ball, trying to drive through Perez, and she does. Andrews now getting around Perez. Andrews, a good move by Tanya Andrews, but she couldn't keep the ball in play.
What you doing, man? Let's go get it.
Perez all the way across the pitch, and it's going to go out for Team Tux kick-in. Just past the midway point here in the first half. We're scoreless. This is the third place match. Again, you're watching the 43rd National Veterans Wheelchair Games. Thank you for spending your Monday with us as these veterans and athletes go at it here. Castillo trying to work his way into the Team Orpheus goal area, and that pass all the way down the pitch. Now Marvin Brown's going to be there to collect it. Marvin Brown over pursues the ball, and that ball's rolling towards the touchline, but he gets there in time as Castillo and Brown collide. Brown trying to get around Castillo, and he gets the ball behind him. Perez, the pass over to Brown. Brown. He looks like he got caught between two thoughts there. Perez now with a pass over to Ward, cut off by Castillo. Now these two going at it here. That ball sent out of play off of Castillo. Perez trying to redirect Marvin Brown to get him into a place where he can get the ball over to him. Castillo's just going to cut that one off. That's out of play. Kick in coming up once again for Team Orpheus.
Ain't no time for talking. Talk tomorrow. Go, baby. Come on, get in there, man. Don't let Danny beat you like that. Don't pump.
Now, from our vantage point here, Perez definitely had some space behind the defenders to try to take a shot on goal. But now Dan Castillo, the counterattack for Team Tux, trying to get around Perez. And Perez just rips the ball away. But Castillo recovers well, and he's right there to defend. And that ball looks like that went off of Perez and out of play. Kick in coming up for Team Tux. Castillo and Brown. That ball bouncing between Perez and Brown. Castillo now with it once again for Team Tux. Tried to get it over to Andrews. Couldn't do it. And that's close to a 2-on-1 violation. And the referee's going to blow the whistle. And he called it on Team Orpheus. So Team Tux with an indirect free kick. Will they be the first to score? Now Castillo does have Ferry at the far post. Andrews is positioned at the top of the goal area, but she probably needs to come out of the goal area a little bit more to give Castillo space. Let's see where he goes with this ball. Castillo going to try to bump it off Perez, it looks like here. Maybe get a corner kick out of it. Let's see what he does. He does bump it off Perez, but off the side of his chair, and Perez tries to clear the ball out of the goal area. He does. Castillo trying to turn the ball back to keep the Tux attack going. And that ball sent to Ferry. Sean Ferry now, 14 Tux. That ball saved by Poole. Sean Ferry trying to push his way through the defense. And Perez clears the ball out. The pass back to Ferry. And now that ball springs back out to Castillo. Castillo looking to maybe go over to Andrews, who's unmarked at the moment. Perez takes that ball away and sends it over to Brown. Marvin Brown now for Team Orpheus. Tries to get it back over to Perez, and that ball sent out of play off of Castillo. Kick in coming up for Team Orpheus. th minute, and we are scoreless here. Both teams have had a couple half chances. Ward. Castillo tried to send it back up the other way, and it went out off of him. So Perez now will try to get his team closer to the Team Tux goal area. Perez off of Ferry, and that ball is just kind of sitting right there on the touchline, and Perez grabs it before it goes out. Team Orpheus still attacking. That pass over to Ferry. Ferry. Perez sends it back into the area. Castillo now trying to get around Perez, and Perez crashing into Castillo. Castillo over to Ferry. Sean Ferry now for Team Tux. Perez, the pass across to Andrews. It's going to get cut off by Castillo, and now Dan Castillo sending the ball towards the Team Orpheus goal area, but he's going to send it wide and out for a Orpheus goal kick. Perez, Tanya Andrews now for Team Tux. Trying to get around Perez again, but Perez just takes the ball away. He's met by Ferry. Perez looking for someone to pass to. Andrews takes it away while he tried to make that decision. And now Andrews glancing that ball off the corner of regard. Perez keeps it in and heads right into Dan Castillo, who waits patiently for him. Nice move by Castillo to get around Perez. Castillo now breaking towards the Team Orpheus goal area. Castillo trying to drive that ball through. Castillo right there at the goalpost, and he spins and swings and hits Poole and Perez. It goes out for a free kick for Team Orpheus. Again, both teams have had a couple chances, but nothing yet on the scoreboard.
In the middle, baby. Give me something to do. Jam them up. Make them 2-on-1. Right there. What you doing? Hey, he's going to jump on you right there. All right.
Perez
Come on. Okay.
cut off that pass by Castillo. Perez gets around Castillo. Nice move there by Julian Perez. Castillo catches up to defend. Castillo, that ball rolls off of him and out of play. Kick in coming up for Team Orpheus.
Set up, baby. Start ball.
There's a lot of room behind Castillo there. Let's see if Julian Perez goes for it. He goes right into Tanya Andrews, and now Ferry is going to pick up that ball. Actually, Castillo comes racing out of the goal area to grab the ball. Couldn't hold on to it again, so it goes out for another Team Orpheus kick in. We're in added time here in the first half, and both teams still looking for that first goal. Perez over to Brown, and Brown almost threw himself out of the chair there. If you were with us the other day, you saw Marvin Brown spin and flip over his chair. He leans a lot to his right, and so he's very heavy on that side. He's also not being restrained at all other than a lap belt. So he's got a lot of weight up top moving around. And Perez hits a shot off of Castillo. It's actually a hit out of play by Perez's teammate, Brown. And the referee blows the halftime whistle. 20 minutes have gone by. No score yet. 20 more minutes to go, plus maybe extra time. We'll see. Team Orpheus 0, Team Tux 0. You're watching the third place match at the 43rd National Veterans Wheelchair Games. We'll be back in a few minutes. The bronze medal is on the line. The third place match is scoreless. Team Tux and Team Orpheus both looking for that first goal. You're watching the 43rd National Veterans Wheelchair Games. We're coming to you live from the Convention Center in downtown New Orleans, Louisiana. For Power Soccer Shop, I'm Tony Jackson. And Team Orpheus is going to get things started here in the second half. We're underway here. Marvin Brown now with the ball, taking on Tanya Andrews, who just bowls her way through Brown. And now Ward with the ball. Castillo, Ward tries to keep that ball under control before it goes out. Team Tux with a kick in. Now, Kevin Bradley is in the match for Sean Ferry on Team Tux. And Castillo tried to hit it down the touchline, but he ended up hitting it out of play, which gives Team Orpheus a pretty good opportunity here to get one on the board early in the second half. Perez is looking for Brown all the way across the pitch at the far post. Now Brown needs to come up a little bit higher. Castillo is waiting to intercept that ball. And that ball off of Abundis. Brown with the shots blocked by Abundis. And now Andrews comes into the goal area. That's going to be a foul. It looks like Marvin Brown is going to get called for the foul. Castillo, that ball cut off by Brown. Sends it back over to Castillo. Brown, Andrews, Perez now with the ball. The pass all the way across to Ward. Bobby Ward now with it for Team Orpheus. Good turn by Ward. It's taken away by Castillo. And now Perez tried to get it over to Brown, but it goes out of play. Another kick in coming up for Team Tux. As we are in the medal rounds now of this competition, this game can't end in a tie, so somebody has to score to win here. Perez, past Bradley. Perez now trying to get past Castillo. Castillo sends it towards the touchline. Perez scoops it up, but couldn't keep it in play. If he had simply let it go out, it would have been a kick-in for his side, but as it turns out, Team Tux is going to take this kick here. Castillo over to Andrews. Andrews redirects it towards the Team Orpheus goal area. Perez gets around Andrews. Now looking to get around around Castillo. Ward picks up that ball for Team Orpheus. Nice turn by Bobby Ward. Castillo over to Bradley. Castillo chasing that ball. Now Marvin Brown is there, but he couldn't connect with the ball. Goal kick coming up for Team Tux. Castillo got lots of room to get it over to Andrews, and Brown knocks it out of play, preventing Andrews from getting that ball. Castillo will try again. Castillo thinking about going down the touchline again, and he does. Andrews is there. Andrews working against Brown. Now Brown just cutting her off here, and it rolls out of play. A kick in coming up for Orpheus. Perez sends it right over to Andrews. Castillo cuts the ball off for Team Tux, and now the counterattack for Tux. And that ball hit off of Perez and out of play. Castillo looking to move quickly here.
Get ready, Mo. What are you doing over there, man? No, 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 no.
Castillo just redirecting his teammates. He's going to make a substitution here. It looks like Tanya Andrews coming out, coming back into the match. Number 3, Sean Ferry. Castillo heading towards Ferry. Ferry now with the shot, blocked off by Perez. And a foul on Ferry for backing into Gary Poole. Absolutely crushed the side of Gary Poole. And the chairs were stuck for just a moment. Free kick coming up for Team Orpheus. Perez, that ball again cut off by Castillo. Perez, Julian Perez with the ball, still working against Castillo. Trying to get around Castillo. Castillo takes it away, and it's out for Team Orpheus kick in. Castillo over to Bradley. Bradley now back over to Castillo. Dan Castillo now trying to get through Julian Perez. Castillo now has room to move the ball towards the Team Orpheus goal area. And that ball pops up in the air, and we're going to have a set ball just outside the Team Orpheus goal area. Perez and Castillo going to take the set ball. Castillo trying to drive Perez to the goal. The ball still in play. Castillo working against Perez. Ferry is there. He's got to be close to a 2-on-1. Castillo with a shot that's going to roll just wide of the goalpost. And the referee has called a corner kick. So now a corner kick coming up for Team Tux. So as the goalkeeper, Perez can be inside 5 meters of the ball. But in order to do that, he has to be behind the goal line. Now, Perez is leaving a lot of space between himself and that goalpost. Let's see if Castillo just decides to go straight in here. Castillo off of Perez, but that ball was too high. I think that's what he was trying to do, but that ball was not close enough to the goal line. And now Perez driving towards the Team Tux goal area. Abundis makes a play. Castillo's there to save it. Nicely done, Dan Castillo. Now Perez is caught on Chris Abundis' foot guard. You can see his foot guard is above Julian Perez. So he's going to have to tilt the chair back a little bit to get that guard off there. Take just a moment. Nicely done by Dan Castillo to race towards the goal line and save a goal there. I mean, any goal at this point could be a potential game winner. So credit to Dan Castillo for some fantastic defense. Abundis has got his guard down into a safer height. When some of these power soccer athletes get these plastic guards put on their chairs, they sit kind of high off the ground, which presents an opportunity for the ball to roll underneath, and it could create a very dangerous situation. Thankfully, nothing happened here. Free kick coming up for Team Tux, and we're going to get a substitution. It looks like Tanya Andrews is going to come back into the match. See, the referee did signal for a substitution. So Kevin Bradley is going to come off, and Andrews will come in and take his place. That ball, Perez keeps it in play. Perez, Castillo. Perez gets it away from Castillo. Nicely done, Dan Castillo. Good turn. And Castillo giving Perez a little bit of space, but a little too much space. Perez now driving towards the Team Tux goal area. Castillo and Perez, some heavy contact between those two. Castillo now back the other way. Andrews, Sean Ferry is there, but he can't get to the ball in time before it rolls over the touchline. Young and Andrews vying for position here. And that ball off of Brown. And Perez is not going to get that ball before it goes out of play. Fantastic job by Tanya Andrews to prevent Brown from maintaining possession of that ball. And now Castillo surveying the defense, trying to find a spot where he can get that ball through. Castillo, Andrews, Perez. Castillo now with the ball. Oh, and Perez is the last one to touch it. The referee says it is going to be Team Orpheus ball, though. That ball off of Sean Ferry. Good move by Perez just to get the ball a little bit closer to the Team Tux goal area. Perez trying to get Ward into some space here. Now Marvin Brown is defending Tanya Andrews, who's defending him. So she's essentially, well, Brown was essentially defending the defender when he needed to put himself into some space to receive a pass. And Perez ended up hitting the ball out of play anyway, so it's going to be a kick in for Team Tux. Perez into Castillo. going to get a foul on Marvin Brown here. Contact foul on Castillo, so this is a direct free kick. It's a little bit far, I think, for Castillo to shoot directly on target, but let's see. He might surprise us all and try to go straight in. Andrews is right there at one post. Ferry is at the other. Perez is waiting to see what Castillo does. Castillo. That ball, Ferry now with it. Perez there to defend. Ferry trying to get that goal for his side. Perez just going to gently push that ball away. Now Perez has to work against Castillo. Tried to go through Castillo, and he's going to get called for the foul. '36th minute. And still no score. And you have to imagine at this point, the team to score first is probably going to come away with the bronze medal. Castillo tried to go over to Ferry, but Ferry too far away. Now Brown, Marvin Brown met by Castillo. Andrews, Tanya Andrews now for Team Tux, taking on Julian Perez. Castillo nicely done to get around Perez. Castillo waiting, and Castillo couldn't keep the ball in play, so kicking coming up for Team Orpheus. Regular time winding down here. Castillo cuts off Brown, and now he's going to chase that ball to try to get it before it goes out, but Castillo helped out by Perez. Now Andrews with the ball. Tanya Andrews for Team Tux. Julian Perez gets it away from her. Castillo now. Oh, and Castillo feels a little contact from Perez. Now Brown is kind of parked himself right in the Team Tux defense, and that ball tipped into Abundis. Abundis makes the save though. Bobby Ward trying to get it over to Brown. Brown came in a little too close, 2-on-1 violation. Indirect free kick for Team Tux. Castillo, Perez. That ball goes right over to Andrews. Now Tanya Andrews cut off by Perez. Sean Ferry is there for Team Tux. Perez takes that ball away from him. Brown circling back around with the ball. Castillo, Dan Castillo now trying to get around Marvin Brown. Nice finesse by Dan Castillo, but Brown still holding on. Castillo now gets away from Brown. Julian Perez comes up to defend. That ball is out of play. Kick in coming up for Team Tux. Folks, we have reached 40 minutes. Any added time here in the second half would be a good time for one of these teams to score. You don't want to take it into extra time. Perez over to Brown. And that ball rolling just wide of the post. Abundis was there. Goal kick coming up for Team Tux. Castillo looking for Ferry. It's cut off by Perez. Nicely done by Dan Castillo, but heavy touch there. Castillo keeps it in play though. And Perez slamming into Sean Ferry. Direct free kick coming up in added time in the second half. Can Team Tux get a late goal and win it? Castillo looks like he's going down to Ferry. Sean Ferry, that ball hit out for a Team Tux corner kick. Tense moments here as time winds down. The referee trying to get Gary Poole on the outside of that yellow line. That yellow line is 5 meters, or about 16 and a half feet from the corner triangle. And now Perez can be inside that 5-meter area, but he has to be behind the goal line to do that. Oh my goodness, now Julian Perez leaving a lot of space here. Dan Castillo. Now Perez turned back in before the ball was kicked. But there's the full-time whistle. So now the teams will switch sides. We'll keep it here. Now, I overheard Julian Perez saying he needs medical attention. I hope everything's okay.
That's fine, man. That guy's taking him in the car. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break here. See what's going on with Julian Perez. We'll be back in a few moments, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching the third place match at the 43rd National Veterans Wheelchair Games. We'll be back in a few moments. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the third place match at the 43rd National Veterans Wheelchair Games. We had to take an extended break because Julian Perez suffered a laceration on his leg that needed to be tended to. So we are back. Perez is all patched up and we're ready to go. Team Tux is going to start things off here in extra time. It's golden goal. So we're going to play 10-minute periods until somebody scores. And when that team scores, they will be the winner and will come away with a bronze medal. So Julian Perez going to take the kick in for Team Orpheus. And that ball all the way over to Dan Castillo. Perez over to Marvin Brown. That ball off the back of his chair, and Castillo scoops it up. Just waiting for that moment to try to get around Brown. And Castillo touches that ball off the front of his chair, and he's not going to be able to hold on to it before it goes out. Julian Perez and Team Orpheus inching closer to the Team Tux goal area. Perez trying to get his teammates in the right place. And again, Marvin Brown is defending the defender here when he really needs to pull out into some space to give Perez a passing option. Now Perez is going to track back and grab that ball. And Perez, the last to touch it, couldn't get around Ferry. Good defense by Sean Ferry. Castillo over to Bobby Ward. That ball rolls past, and now Perez. Castillo again. Perez. Can Brown get there before it goes out of play? No, he can't. So kick in coming up for Team Tux. And again, we're just going to play 10-minute periods until somebody scores. Castillo looking for a teammate. He's kind of all by himself. Castillo. Perez, that ball off of Perez last, and it goes out of play. Kick in coming up for Team Tux. Castillo looking to move a little quickly here. That ball off of Brown. Castillo's going to try to pick this one up before it goes out of play, and Bobby Ward comes in to save it for Team Orpheus. Now Ward trying to turn around here and get around Castillo. The pass out to Perez. Julian Perez now with the ball. He's got Brown to his left. Castillo can't hold on to it. He tried to scoop the ball and go the other way. Now, there's a lot of space between Julian Perez and his teammates. And Perez decides to shorten up that distance a little bit by hitting it off Sean Ferry. Now Brown backing into Castillo. You can't do that. You can get close to the defenders, but you can't make contact with them. So Perez going to Bobby Ward. That ball off the back of his chair. Team Tux kick-in coming up. Bobby Ward for Team Orpheus. Castillo now takes the ball away, pushing that ball, touching off of Perez and out of play. The referee is going to say it's going to be a Team Tux kick in. Perez sends that one back out. Castillo tries to keep the Team Tux attack going. Castillo now trying to work his way around Perez. Perez now heading back the other way, but Castillo trying to turn him back around. Castillo driving Perez and turning him around. Castillo now gets past Perez. Castillo tried to make a pass over to Andrews, but he was a little late on the swing. See something going on here with Perez's chair. Chair cut off, so Julian Perez got no power right now, and Team Orpheus doesn't have any substitutions, and so they're going to need him out there. If he can't go, they're going to have to play with 3, which is going to be a really tough task for his teammates. Julian Perez is stuck right now. Got folks out here looking at his chair, trying to get it to turn on. Now, any number of things could have tripped on this chair. Now, sometimes the cable comes unplugged from the joystick. There's a little fuse attached to the controller box underneath the seat. Sometimes that'll pop if there's too much power coming from the chair, and that's exactly what it was. A little fuse popped and you push it back in, and Julian Perez is now ready to go once again. So Team Orpheus is still at full strength. Perez had his brakes put back on.
Are the brakes on or off?
Now, some people choose to play with their brakes on. Most people will play with their brakes off.
On. I need a bob.
So his brakes are currently on. And it looks like the referee is going to get his brakes pulled back off. Now, the reason for that, for a lot of people, is that the chair moves a little bit more smoothly with the brakes off. And when you're playing and you're stopped and you're not holding on to the joystick, and then when you start, it takes that little bit of time to get the brakes unlocked to start you off again. So Julian Perez got power again, his brakes are off, and we're back underway here. Castillo gets that ball out of play. Team Orpheus.
Come on, set up.
Julian Perez looking for his teammates. Now again, a really long distance between Perez and the ball. Andrews now for Team Tux, taking on Perez. But Perez just takes that ball and scoops it away from her. Advantage called by the referee. Castillo, Perez, over to Ward. Bobby Ward right there, but he couldn't get onto the ball. He saw it coming, but his chair just wouldn't move fast enough to get to the ball. Good pass by Julian Perez. Now there will be no breaks in between golden goal periods here, so as soon as the referee blows the whistle, the sides will flip over and start up again. Castillo sends that ball right to Perez. Now Ward is there. Bobby Ward for Team Orpheus. Ward sends that ball out of play. Kick in coming up for Team Tux. We've played 10 full minutes here in extra time, and there's still no score. Castillo hits that ball out of play, and another kick in coming up for Team Orpheus. Now Castillo has done that a few times in this match. Now the idea is to hit it down the line, hope it bounces off of somebody and get the ball closer to the attacking goal area, but he just hasn't been able to do that yet. Brown now with the ball, and he just couldn't control it. He hits it out of play. Kick in coming up for Team Tux. Castillo and Perez going to take a big swing. Bobby Ward cuts it off. Now Tanya Andrews, Perez, Marvin Brown for Team Orpheus. Castillo there defending. Kick in coming up for Team Orpheus. Perez right into Castillo. Castillo driving. Oh, and Perez got the ball off of Castillo, but also rammed right into Dan Castillo. So a direct free kick coming up for Team Tux. Just waiting for the referee to blow the whistle and have the team switch sides here. That ball intended for Ferry, but it goes out. Kick in coming up for Team Orpheus. That ball right down the touchline, and that right there, what Julian Perez did, is what Castillo has been trying to do throughout this match. And now Sean Ferry with the ball for Team Tux. Team Tux attacking. Bobby Ward trying to hold him off, and Ward gets the ball away from Ferry. Perez. And there's the whistle, and the teams are going to switch sides, and we will start another golden goal period. Teams are switching sides, but I don't think Team Orpheus got the memo. And extra time period number 2 is underway here. Ward trying to get that ball, but Ferry is moving in. Ward's going to get it back. He passes off to Young. Andrews coming in. And Andrews was the last to touch it. Dan Castillo now for Team Tux, trying to get a goal for his side. Both teams really trying to get a goal. We've played 50 minutes and no one has scored yet. Castillo cut off by Brown, and now that ball is rolling towards the Team Tux goal area, and it's curling in a little bit towards the Tux goal area, but wide of the post. So goal kick coming up for Team Tux. Castillo, Perez, back into Castillo, over to Andrews. Tanya Andrews is going to collect that ball. Let's see if Castillo can catch it before it goes out of play, and he does. He's just going to hold on to the ball for a moment. Perez moves in to make a play on it, and the pass across to Ward. Bobby Ward now with the ball. Castillo going to try to take that away from him. Castillo, nicely done to try to get around Perez. Perez now driving. Castillo isn't able to keep it in. Kick in coming up for Team Orpheus. Perez imploring his teammates to find some open space. Perez sends it out of play. I think he was trying to knock it off of Ferry to get a little bit closer to the goal area, but he missed, and so now Team Tux is going to take a goal kick. We've played 53 minutes, and both teams have had an opportunity to score, but none of them have been able to finish the job. Castillo getting around Perez, but Perez recovers. Castillo holding on to the ball, keeping it in play. Castillo tried to knock it off of Perez, but it just rolled over the touchline. So kick in coming up for Team Orpheus. Castillo, Perez, Ferry, the pass over to Andrews is cut off by Perez. Castillo tried to wait for a moment to get it around Perez, and now Castillo, Dan Castillo with it, inviting Perez to play defense. And Castillo now going around Perez. Oh, Perez got a good angle on him, but now he's bumping into Castillo. Oh, and Castillo hits the ball out of play. Good job by Perez to bounce that ball off of him. And Perez hit that ball off the corner of his guard. So now Castillo hits it into Brown. Castillo now taking on Marvin Brown. Castillo trying to drive around Brown. Castillo gets the ball away from him. Castillo over to Andrews. Tanya Andrews. She's going to be able to get this ball before it rolls out. She is not. Kick in coming up for Team Orpheus. Ball sent right into Dan Castillo. Perez trying to get it over to Ward, and Ward backs up a little bit too much. Good thought, but it's really hard sometimes to get the chair to match your mind, especially when you're playing with a chair designed for everyday use as opposed to a chair that's designed for the sport, which Castillo, Brown, and Perez are all using. Perez, Castillo, gonna send that one out for a Team Orpheus goal kick. Castillo cuts off the ball. Brown turns Castillo around, but Castillo recovers. Nicely done by Marvin Brown. Now Brown just a little bit too heavy on the contact. And so a direct free kick coming up for Team Tux. Again, this is a pretty long distance for Castillo to try to shoot directly on goal. So he's going to have to get it towards the goal area and then try to work it from there. Castillo trying to go over to Ferry, and that's going to be behind him. So goal kick coming up for Team Orpheus. So Perez trying to get his teammates to get open. And again, if you don't play this sport on a regular basis, it's kind of a challenge to understand the tactics and some of the more fundamental skills and strategies you needed to be successful in this. Brown hits that ball out of play, so another kick in coming up for Team Tux. Castillo. Marvin Brown took the ball away but can't control it. So Castillo now with it. Castillo loses the ball and it goes behind him. He lost sight of it. Play continues. Referee said it was still in play. Perez, Castillo. And Julian Perez is the last to touch it. And ladies and gentlemen, we have played 60 minutes. We're going to flip sides and do it again for another 10 or until somebody scores. This is the third extra time period. And at this point in the match, battery power becomes an issue. So what you'll see a lot of times in these games is, especially when we start getting into the third and the fourth extra time periods, the chairs start slowing down a little bit because you've been running the chairs hard for 40 minutes, 50 minutes, and now for this match, 60 minutes. So I thought we were going to go straight into the next extra time period, but it looks like the officials are having a conversation here. Not quite sure what it's about, but we are about to get underway here again in just a few moments. I want to thank you all who are still with us here on the Power Soccer Shop YouTube channel for this live stream. Looks like the teams are back out, but not quite ready to go yet. Okay, it looks like everybody minus Castillo is back out on the pitch. Looks like Dan Castillo is getting his hand strap refitted here. So we'll be ready to go in just a moment. Team Tux will start things off here. Dan Castillo lined up like he's going to go straight towards goal, and it looks like he is. Dan Castillo going straight towards the Team Orpheus goal area. Castillo trying to end this one now. Perez over to Brown. Pass back to Perez. Castillo bounces that off of Perez. And now Dan Castillo. Can Castillo get that ball across? Tanya Andrews is waiting at the far post. Castillo looks like he's going to try to go over there. No, he's going down towards Ferry, and Perez hits it out of play. Castillo tried to go all the way across, but Perez takes it away. And now Chris Abundis is going to have to come up and make a play on it. And he's just going to let that one roll out of play. Castillo tried to get it all the way across to Andrews, but Castillo doesn't quite have enough power in his kick to get it all the way over there. Perez was able to cut that ball off. And so now goal kick coming up for Team Tux. Perez tried to get it over to Ward, but it's a little bit too far in front of Ward. You see Ward trying to scoot his chair along, but it usually doesn't help it go very much faster. Castillo sends that ball down the touchline. Ward tried to send it back, but he hit it out. So Castillo moves his team a little bit closer. Now Castillo looking, trying to find an opening in that Team Orpheus defense. And Julian Perez hits it out of play. And Team Tux slowly marching ever closer to the Team Orpheus goal area. And Dan Castillo is just going to keep doing that one move until he gets close enough. Castillo into Perez again. Now Castillo is just going to let that ball roll, but now he has no choice but to take it as Perez was closing in. Castillo off of Ward again. He's just going to keep doing that play until he gets close enough. Castillo over to Ferry. Ferry, that ball cut off by Perez, and now Bobby Ward with it. Ward working, trying to get around Castillo. That ball just dancing right along the touchdown, and Ward almost hits that ball out. Ferry, that ball right there on the goal line. And the referee is going to call a foul on Sean Ferry. That was very close to being a game winner. And now an opportunity for Team Tux and Dan Castillo. Team Orpheus ball. Now Marvin Brown trying to make a move, but Dan Castillo turns him away. Castillo trying to get through Perez. Castillo and Perez. Perez pushing towards the Team Tux goal area. Castillo almost got around Perez. Kick in coming up for Team Tux. Will we see a fourth extra time period, or will somebody score? Brown cuts that ball off. Castillo into Brown. Castillo. Perez is the last to touch that ball. It's going to roll out for a Team Tux kick in. This is a good spot if you're Team Tux. Let's see if they can take advantage of the moment. So now it looks like Andrews trying to open up a tiny bit of space. And the goalkeeper for Orpheus, Gary Poole. Now that ball went out of play off of Gary Poole. Corner kick coming up. Now Poole, again, he's the goalkeeper in this corner kick situation, so if he's going to be inside of 5 meters, he's got to be behind the goal line. Actually, Perez is the designated goalkeeper. He's wearing the goalie penny. Castillo off of Andrews. Now Castillo needs to keep that ball in play to keep this attack going. Oh, Castillo could not keep it in. He had the ball for a moment but lost it. That ball off of Andrews and out of play. We're getting close to 70 minutes played here. Andrews, oh, Brown touched that ball. Castillo off of Brown. Oh, Andrews touched that ball. Nicely done by Marvin Brown. Brown, that pass coming out to Bobby Ward, but Dan Castillo gets it away. Brown is too far away for Julian Perez to reach him, so Perez calling him back a little bit closer. Brown. Sean Ferry is there. Now Marvin Brown with it for Team Orpheus. Brown called for contact. He doesn't have a lot of fine control, especially when he gets in tight quarters with somebody else. He's relatively new with his chair, and that's a typical experience for a lot of people when you get the strike force for the first time. So it's understandable, but he'll get better as he gets used to the speed and the agility of the chair. And now Julian Perez with the ball again. And the referee blows the whistle. 70 minutes have been played. Now Gary Poole making his way over to the Team Orpheus goal area. If we complete another extra time period, these athletes will have played 2 complete power soccer matches. And again, at some point, battery power becomes an issue. So we'll see as this game goes along if it becomes an issue for either of these sides. Marvin Brown with the ball. Brown moving towards the Team Tuck's goal area. Dan Castillo turning him away. Ball still in play. Castillo circling around the ball, and he crashes into Marvin Brown. Now this is a direct free kick. Let's see if Julian Perez decides to go directly on goal. He's got space. Abundis is giving him a lot of room. Now he closes that off. Now, Marvin Brown can't make contact with Castillo, but he can be close. And Castillo sitting right at the goal line, waiting. He sees that space in front of Abundis. Let's see where he decides to go with it. Julian Perez shoots it wide. Castillo. Perez sends it wide. It goes out for a Team Tuck's goal kick. Actually, the referee is going to rule it a kick in from the corner. Now, Dan Castillo doesn't really have an open teammate, so he's just going to send that ball gently up the touchline. And Brown hits the ball. Castillo. Brown now with it, crashing into Castillo. And Castillo maintains control of the ball. And Castillo lost sight of it and let it roll out. Perez over to Brown. Brown off of Castillo. Now Brown's got an opportunity here. Marvin Brown, Dan Castillo comes in and closes him off. Castillo sends it up to Andrews. Julian Perez is there for Team Orpheus. That ball comes right back to Dan Castillo. Perez over to Ward. Bobby Ward with a shot, blocked by Dan Castillo. Castillo heavy on the touch, but he keeps it in play. Perez looking for somebody. Can Bobby Ward score here? Perez, pass back across. Castillo cuts it off, but it's going to go wide and out of play. Tanya Andrews frustrating the entire Orpheus team right now, playing fantastic defense, not giving a clear pathway to pass the ball. Castillo with it. Castillo over to Ferry. Ferry now taken away by Perez. Castillo off of Perez. Castillo trying to knock it off of Ward, but it drifts towards the middle of the pitch. Castillo trying to hold off Perez, and Perez too heavy on that turn. Too much contact on the back wheel is the call. So free kick coming up for Team Tux. Castillo, Perez, Castillo again now. Castillo over to Andrews, that ball off the back of her chair. Perez sends it towards Ward, but it goes out. Dan Castillo and Team Tux trying to get that goal. Castillo cut off by Perez. Oh, and Bobby Ward pushing hard against Castillo. Play continues though. Referee calls advantage. Castillo going to try to work his way through Perez. He's not going to be able to do it like that. Now Perez takes it away. Castillo has to grab the ball. He retreats out of the Team Orpheus goal area. Heavy contact again between Perez and Castillo. Castillo tracking down the ball. Perez the last to touch it. Now Tanya Andrews is waiting all the way at the far post. Perez hits it out of play. I think Bobby Ward tried to stop that ball from going out with his hand, which is definitely against the rules. It's a good thing he didn't touch it. He could have been carded for that. So now Ward is in a defensive position, but he has to be 5 meters away from the ball, so he's going to be forced out of that area. Now Castillo does have Andrews waiting, but she's almost level with Julian Perez, which makes it easy for him to defend. Castillo sends that ball out for another opportunity. Now Castillo backing her up a little bit. I think he recognized the same thing we just talked about here. Castillo trying to go across to Andrews, and that ball off the back of her chair. Now Julian Perez on the counterattack for Team Orpheus. Perez got to get around the side of the ball or he's going to lose control of it. Abundis is there to make the save. Perez, Marvin Brown now. Brown, and he slams into Dan Castillo, and a penalty kick has been called. Foul called on Dan Castillo, and Team Orpheus can win it right here. Now, I thought I saw the referee point to the penalty mark, and he did. And so now Dan Castillo and Julian Perez are going to face off. And I don't think everybody understands that this is a penalty kick, so everybody needs to clear out of the area and needs to be above the ball or behind the ball, so everybody has to come to the top of the goal area here. Julian Perez, Dan Castillo, this is going to be it. If Perez scores, Team Orpheus is going to come away with the bronze. Can Dan Castillo keep his team in it? Julian Perez for the potential win. Perez lining up to make sure he scores this goal. Julian Perez with the shot and the goal! Julian Perez on a penalty kick in the fourth extra time period wins it for Team Orpheus. They're going to come away with the bronze medal It was a back and forth heavyweight fight for 80 minutes. And Julian Perez scores on a penalty kick to win it for them. We're going to take a break. When we come back, the championship match, Team Endymion versus Team Rex. We will be back in just a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back here at the Convention Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. It is the gold medal match of the Power Soccer competition here at the 43rd National Veterans Wheelchair Games. It's Team Endymion versus the Muses. If you were here with us earlier, you watched an epic quadruple overtime match. Team Orpheus versus Team Tux. Orpheus coming away with a 1-0 victory. A penalty kick by Julian Perez. And so now, Team Endymion taking on Team Tux, or excuse me, taking on the Muses. And the Muses are actually missing their captain, Jessie Olaf. We were informed that she had to be hospitalized before this match. So we hope everything's going to be okay with her. And so the Muses are going to have to play without her. She's been the one to control the flow of the game for her side. So it's going to be up to Rob Thomas and the rest of the team to try to win that gold medal. Looks like Shauna Nelson is going to play goal for the Muses. Rob Thomas, Jordan Jones, and Brian Malbrough attacking for the Muses. Get the Team Endymion starting four sorted out here. It looks like it's going to be Milas Wyatt, Happy Barton, Amy McKee, and John Turchin Sr. Ricky Wicklund and John Powell will be substitutes for Endymion. So it is just on the cusp of 8 p.m. here in New Orleans, 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 6 p.m. on the West Coast. And if you're here with us for the championship match, thank you for joining. The whistle is blown and the championship match is underway. Rob Thomas starts things off for the Muses. Jordan Jones trying to make his way through. Happy Barton with the ball. In a 2-on-1 violation called on Endymion. Thomas places that one in front of Jones, but he couldn't latch onto it, so kick in coming up for Endymion. Wyatt. Cut off by Jones. McKee with the ball now, taking on Thomas. Lots of bunching up here in the area, and a 2-on-1 violation on Muses. Free kick coming up for Endymion. Marlborough comes up to defend against McKee. And now Jones. Matthew Barton with the ball. Barton, Thomas turning Barton around. But that ball out of play. It looked like that went off of Barton. And so the Muses are going to get a kick in. McKee, that ball bouncing off the back of Wyatt, and a 3 in the box violation on Endymion is going to give Muses an indirect free kick right from the top of the goal area. And now we'll see if Muses can score here. Now the ball has to touch another player before it goes over the goal line. Again, this is an indirect free kick. Thomas with the shot, blocked by McKee. Marlborough's got the ball in the back of his chair. He sees it, but he can't get around to it. Now McKee swings around to take it. And now that ball over to Jones. Jordan Jones with a shot. It glances off the side of his chair. Now that also could be a 3 in the box violation, Jordan Jones. And that is going to be another 3 in the box violation called by the referee. Wyatt, Barton, and Turchin all in the goal area. Now, John Turchin is the goalkeeper, so he's typically not going to leave the box in this situation. So only one other player from Team Endymion, the red team, can be in the goal area at the same time. Thomas, see if he goes, he's going right into the defense. Now that is a 2-on-1 violation. Now the referee is holding his whistle for a moment. Advantage called. Now Jones is following the play, but he really had to let go there because Thomas was retreating on defense. That will be a 2-on-1 violation on Muses. McKee over to Barton. Thomas. Lets that ball roll out of play. Looks like Miles Wyatt is going to take this kick. Wyatt right into Thomas, but Thomas didn't get a good angle on the ball and he sends it wide and out of play. Another kick in coming up for Endymion. That ball rolling along the touchline. Jones, Marlborough keeps it in play. McKee. Barton now. Barton with a shot. And Nelson lets that ball roll wide. I think she had that ball tracked pretty well, so although it was going towards the goalpost, she had it under control. So goal kick coming up for Muses. Thomas getting around the Endymion defenders. Now Jones and Thomas both going for the ball. And that ball out of play. McKee, Thomas now gets around McKee, but McKee backing up to defend. And a foul on McKee. She hooked Thomas. Now a direct free kick coming up for Muses. All Thomas has to do is shoot past the defenders. Can he score a goal here? This is a direct free kick. And he hits it off of Barton, who sends it the other way. Now Barton racing for the ball before it goes over the end line. And she's going to get there. That ball, Abby Barton sends it through for a goal. My goodness. I thought Nelson was going to close that space off, but Abby Barton right there with the corner of her guard flicks it through. 1-0 the score. Endymion. So Rob Thomas and the rest of the Muses have a bit of a hill to climb now. And this is where they're really going to miss Jessie Olaf. If you're just joining us, Olaf unable to make the match. She had to go to the hospital, unfortunately. And again, hopefully she's going to be okay. Bit too much pace on that ball for Happy Barton. Sends it out for a Muses kick in. Barton trying to get another on the board for Team Endymion, and Thomas just sends it out of play. That ball last touching off of Barton, so Muses are going to get the ball here. Barton, Thomas. That ball still rolling along the touchline, and Barton sends it across. That's off the back of Wyatt, and that is going to go out for a kick in for Muses. Let's see if Thomas can get his team the equalizer here. Jordan Jones at the top of the area. Milas Wyatt just backed into him. Brian Malborough at the far post. Now there's an opportunity. Malborough with it. And again, another 3-in-the-box violation. Milas Wyatt coming into the area. Happy Barton and John Turchin were already in there. When playing defense, you can only have 2 defenders in the goal area, and one of them has to be the goalkeeper. And so an indirect free kick is the result in favor of Muses. Let's see if they can get the equalizer here. Malborough set up at Rob Thomas's far post. Now, Ricky Wicklund is currently in the goal area. This is already a 3-in-the-box violation before anything happens. And that ball through and a goal. It touched off of Marlboro. We are level at 1, ladies and gentlemen. And a substitution. Well, Miles White came out for Ricky Wicklund. Barton now switching into the center, and Thomas misses that ball. And Shauna Nelson just has to make a play on it. McKee all the way across, and a 3 in the box violation on Muses now. Jordan Jones has come into the area. Shauna Nelson and Rob Thomas were already in the goal area. Indirect free kick coming up for Endymion. Nelson setting up just beyond the goal line. Barton looking for McKee at the far post. Now Barton sends that one right into Thomas. Barton, the shot rolls off Thomas. Barton trying to turn Thomas back in. And that ball again rolling right along the touchline here off of Thomas. Now McKee with it. Amy McKee. Brian Marlboro now defending. And a heavy, heavy swing on McKee. And a foul on Marlboro as he backs into McKee. Gives Endymion a direct free kick. McKee has Wicklund to her left and Barton to her right, but Barton is being blocked off by Marlboro. That ball right off of Thomas. The pass across, Barton now swinging, and the shot blocked by Thomas. McKee couldn't get onto that ball, and Wicklund is going to circle around, try to keep it in play, and Wicklund hits it out for a Muses goal kick. Barton sends that ball wide of the Muses goal area. Nelson almost made a play on it. Good thing she didn't, otherwise that would have been a corner kick for Endymion. Thomas, Barton, and Rob Thomas sends it out. Kicking coming up for Endymion. Happy Barton again right into Thomas, but that ball goes all the way through and across and out of play. Thomas gets that ball through everybody. McKee now takes it. 2-on-1 violation on Endymion gives the Muses an indirect free kick right at the center line. Thomas, Barton sends that out. Thomas is looking for Malbrough. Thomas now down to Malbrough. Tries to get that across, but no one is there to collect it. Jordan Jones is too far away. Now McKee trying to turn Thomas. Kick out to Jordan Jones. Now Jones taking on Happy Barton. Thomas now. Thomas loses control of his chair. Endymion Kickin coming up. McKee. Barton is late getting there. Good cross by McKee. Barton now wide open space to shoot. Thomas is there to collect it though. Not enough pace to beat him on that ball. And that goes out for Amuse's kick in. '18th minute of the match. We're level at 1, and we're going to pause for a moment. Substitution coming off the pitch for Team Endymion, Ricky Wicklund, and coming on in his place, number 6, John Powell. Jones split the defenders but couldn't get it towards the goal area. That ball, Jordan Jones gonna make a play on it. Jones with a shot. It's blocked by Barton, and heavy contact by Happy Barton. Barton sends that ball along the touchline and out of play. She couldn't keep it in. Jones dangerously close to scoring another goal for Muses, but now Thomas has an opportunity here. Let's see what he can do with it. Jordan Jones at the far post. Brian Malbrough also setting up at the far post. Now Jones is at the top of the area, but he's behind Barton. Can't really do much from that space. Thomas off the back of McKee's chair. Jordan Jones tried to make a play on it, but he couldn't get his chair to move in time. That pass from McKee to Barton, blocked off by Thomas. Barton is racing towards the goal area, trying to collect that ball. Nobody's going to catch it. It goes out for a goal kick. Barton over to Powell. John Powell now. Oh, he couldn't get his chair to move forward again to bump the ball. Thomas. McKee punches the ball towards the Muses goal area. Nelson backs up, sees that it's going wide. Thomas. McKee with a shot. Thomas spins and misses the ball. Amy McKee scores a goal for Team Endymion. They are now up 2-1. Now Thomas took a risky play and tried to execute a 180 spin kick to block that shot. and the ball was just out of his reach, and McKee scores another one. And it looks like something happened to Shauna Nelson's chair. Not quite sure, but she's not moving. Oh, her chair's moving now, so something happened with the chair. And the referee's going to blow the halftime whistle. So we're going to take a break. You may have seen the gentlemen in the red jackets and baby blue shorts wearing the headbands. I believe they're the halftime entertainment. I don't know who they are, but I'm here for it. Hopefully you will be as well. When we come back, the final 20 minutes from the 43rd National Veterans Wheelchair Games. We will be back soon. Enjoy the halftime show. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you enjoyed the 6'10 Stumpers. What a halftime show that was. We're back here, the second half of the gold medal match here for Power Soccer. It's the 43rd National Veterans Wheelchair Games. And Team Endymion lead 2-1 over Muses. And Brian Malbrough crashing into McKee. Direct free kick coming up for Endymion. And during the halftime show, it was revealed that tomorrow is Rob Thomas's birthday. So happy early birthday, Rob. McKee sends that ball across. Jordan Jones stops the shot. McKee now sends the ball wide. Malbrough cuts her off. And that ball rolls out of play. And actually, Happy Barton kept the ball in, so play continues here. Barton now pushing towards the Muses goal area. Happy Barton trying to get another goal for Endymion. And Happy Barton with a shot. That ball blocked, and a corner kick now for Endymion. And Shauna Nelson crashing into the goal post. McKee over to Barton. Barton back to McKee. And Happy Barton slamming into Malbrough. Thomas and Barton colliding now. Lots of contact near that Muses goal area, and now Rob Thomas breaking up the pitch for Muses. Happy Barton races back to defend. Barton sends it out. And the kick in coming up for Muses. Barton, the last to touch that ball, and she can't stop it before it goes over the line. Corner kick for Muses. They trail 2-1. Thomas has Jordan Jones at the far post. Brian Malbrough at the top of the area. Thomas sends it up to Malbrough. Malbrough has to knock it off the side of his chair. And now McKee looking to counterattack, but Thomas stops her. 2-on-1 violation on Endymion. Gives the Muses an indirect free kick just outside their goal area. Thomas, Barton, McKee, now with an opportunity to counterattack. And now McKee gets past Thomas, and there's a foul on Thomas for crashing into McKee. That very easily could have been a yellow card. There was no one between McKee and Shauna Nelson in the Muses goal area, but contact by Thomas stops the play. Thomas. Miles Wyatt coming out to make a play on the ball for Endymion. Thomas is there, trying to get around Wyatt. Thomas driving, Rob Thomas with a goal. You'll see it once again. Thomas caught Wyatt out of position, scored the goal, and we are level at 2. Just over 15 minutes to go in the match. Now Powell is on the Muses half of the pitch. He's got to start on his own half. Once the ball's kicked, then he can move. McKee over to Barton. Barton into Thomas, the goal scorer. Now Thomas again has an opportunity, but that ball's going to drift wide of the area. Kick in coming up. Now, if you're Muses, you really want to press Barton here and apply some pressure on her. She's trapped deep in her own area. Barton. Malbrough. That ball slides behind his chair. Now Nelson thought about coming up to make a play on it, but she recognized that it was going to be a goal kick for her side, so she lets it roll out of play. Thomas took a swing but didn't make contact with the ball, so they'll take another swing here. Thomas, McKee. Thomas hits that ball and it's going to roll out for an Endymion corner kick. Now when that happens, and it does happen every once in a while where a player will set up to take a kick and miss the ball, it's really important to just start the process all over again and set up properly so that way you can kick the ball where you want it to go. That time it didn't happen, and it results in a corner kick for Endymion. They're going to try to take the lead here. 2-2 the score right now. That ball rolling into Thomas. Barton is there. Now Malbrough is in the goal area. 3 in the box violation. Barton with a shot. Barton again with a shot. Happy. Barton off the post. That ball goes. And now Powell with an opportunity here, trying to keep the attack alive for Endymion, and it rolls out for a goal kick. My goodness. Let's see if we can get a replay of that one. Happy Barton almost scored a goal. That ball was off the post. Very close to taking a 3-2 lead. Thomas sends it out for another Endymion kick in. Ricky Wicklund is going to come back into the match for Endymion. Miles Wyatt coming off. John Turchin Sr. coming back on. And actually, Ricky Wicklund coming back off. Miles Wyatt still in the match, but now an attacker. And John Turchin Sr. into the goal area. Now let's see what is called here. So the referee is saying that Barton backed into Thomas. Now that could have been a 2-on-1 violation. It definitely was contact on Barton. So a free kick coming up for Muses. McKee sends that Thomas ball back, and now McKee trying to work around Thomas. Happy Barton is also there, close to a 2-on-1 violation. And the referee says it is Endymion ball. McKee, Thomas sends it across. No one is there to collect it. Another kick in coming up for Endymion. 31st minute. And we are level at 2. Now, the third place match earlier went into quadruple overtime. Let's see if we get overtime in this match as well. Jones and Wyatt now. Jordan Jones. Thomas. And Thomas is going to send that ball out of play. And Endymion trying to regain the lead. Wyatt. McKee is there. Marlborough's there. 2-on-1 violation on Muses. Gives Team Endymion a indirect free kick from the top of the goal area here, just right at the 3-point arch on this court. That ball bouncing around. Miles Wyatt pushing, and a foul on Wyatt for crashing into everybody in the goal area. Free kick for Muses. That ball twirling towards the touchline. Thomas able to keep it in play, but Miles Wyatt knocks it out. Thomas, McKee, the pass to Barton. Thomas, McKee trailing behind Happy Barton as Barton tracks back to their own goal area. Now Thomas keeps that ball in play. He really should have just let that one roll out. It was going out for a kick in for his team. Thomas heading towards the Endymion goal area. Thomas trying to get around McKee. And now Muses. Two-on-one violation. Actually a 3-in-the-box violation. Barton, McKee, and Turchin all in the goal area. Now Marlborough's going to go to the far post. Jordan Jones at the top of the goal area, also near the far post. That ball comes across into McKee. But we're going to do this again. We were waiting for the referee's whistle, so now the whistle is blown. Thomas with the kick. McKee, oh, she cuts it off, but didn't get it cleanly. Thomas trying to hit Marlborough at the far post. If he can get enough pace on the ball, he can get it over there. Thomas all the way across. McKee kicks it up to Barton. Now Happy Barton on the counterattack. And Rob Thomas does very well to get back there in time. But Happy Barton cuts him off, but she can't recontrol the ball, and it drifts wide of the post. Shauna Nelson was there. That ball out of play. Kicking coming up for Endymion. Thomas hits that ball out of play. Well defended by Robert Thomas. Wyatt gently rolls that ball towards Thomas. Now Wyatt crashing into Marlborough. Happy Barton was also there. That's a 2-on-1 violation on Team Endymion. We're getting close to the full-time whistle here. Muses and Endymion both trying to score the game winner. Barton hits it to McKee. McKee. And that ball gets away now. Amy McKee with a chance. McKee, can she control the ball before it goes out? McKee. Amy McKee gets it over the line. Amy McKee puts Team Endymion back in the lead. Well done. It looked like that ball was going to roll past her, but she managed to get it back and get it behind Nelson for a goal. 3-2 the score. We are in the 39th minute. Rob Thomas and Team Muses have their work cut out for them here. Not a lot of time left. Can they get an equalizer, or will Endymion come away with the gold medal? Jordan Jones trying to keep Endymion in their own half. They're going to have to play some hard defense here. Jordan Jones tries to keep the ball in, but he can't. And really, if you're Team Endymion at this point, you just want to hold on to the ball and wait for the final whistle to blow. And if you're Muses, you need to throw everything you can at them to try to get that equalizer. 2-on-1 violation. And Amy McKee calling for the advantage. The referee saying the advantage really wasn't there. And again, if you're McKee, you just want to take your time at this point. You don't really need to do very much here. Just hold on to the ball and wait for that final whistle. Referee checks his watch. And Miles Wyatt pushing through everybody out there. 2-on-1 violation. Again on Muses. And this is not helping their cause. Thomas hits that ball out, and the referee blows the final whistle. Team Endymion, with a late goal from Amy McKee, wins the gold medal, and Muses are going to take home silver. And you have to believe, with the absence of Jesse Olaf, their captain, it really put Muses in a tough position, but to their credit, they did a fantastic job. It was a really close match, but they just weren't able to pull it out. So congratulations to Team Endymion for winning the gold medal here at the Power Soccer competition. We're going to keep it here. The medals are being brought out to the court. Now, Team Orpheus, if you were here with us earlier, they won the bronze medal. I'm trying to see if there are any members of the team still in the venue. Julian Perez is still here, but I'm not sure any of his other teammates are. So Julian Perez may be the only one to accept the medal on his team's behalf. Well, ladies and gentlemen, our view has been cut off, and I would not want to subject you to watching a white screen. So just know that Team Orpheus finished with bronze, Team Muses finished with silver, and your champions for the 43rd National Veterans Wheelchair Games are Team Endymion. We hope you've enjoyed this broadcast. We've enjoyed bringing it to you. Thank you very much for sticking around with us. Until next time, for Power Soccer Shop, I'm Tony Jackson. Thank you again. Take care and goodbye.